And guess what? Bidenomics is working. Sports drinks bottles are smaller. A bag of chips has fewer chips, but they're still charging it just as much. And as an ice cream lover, what makes me the most angry is that ice cream cartons have actually shrunk in size, but not in price. I've had enough of what they call shrinkflation. It's a ripoff. Today, the U.S. has the highest economic growth rate, leading the world economies since the pandemic, the highest in the world.
You're a good sport to go out every day and try to defend Bidenomics. It's like trying to defend a fungal infection. Bidenomics is really just paying more to live worse, isn't it?
If you guys believe the narrative from Joe Biden that the economy is strong and it's working from the bottom up and middle out or whatever it was they promised, if you really, really do believe that these people know what they're doing, if you have confidence, then I think you got to hear Janet Yellen explain it to you herself.
Madam Secretary, I've watched you for years, even before I came to Washington. And
excuse me, Bob. It's okay.
when I have time, I do. I enjoy reading your speeches. I think you're what cool looks like. You're a good sport to go out every day and try to defend Bidenomics. It's like trying to defend a fungal infection. Bidenomics is really just paying more to live worse, isn't it?
I certainly wouldn't agree with that characterization. Bidenomics first tried to address the pain that households were experiencing because of the pandemic and to help them survive it. Small businesses, households, people who had lost their jobs, to prevent the kind of scarring we saw after the financial crisis. And as the economy began to recover, and we quickly, of all advanced countries that experienced the pandemic, no country has done better than the United States in quickly having a labor market recovery, resuming growth, and we have the largest real wage increases of any advanced country. And then medium term, Bidenomics is focused on helping middle-class families lead better lives, address the problems that they have, create jobs in areas.
And I got to wonder, when she says that Bidenomics tried to address the pain of households and the pain that small businesses are feeling to prevent scarring, whatever that means, she uses the word tried. Does she admit that they weren't able to do it, that they didn't pull it off? And honestly, does she really believe that average middle-class families are living better? I mean, she talks about wage growth, but completely ignores the fact that when you adjust anything for inflation, wages have actually gone down under her watch, under Joe's watch. And you have to be careful with these people. She talks about recovering more jobs than other Western countries, and that is true. But it's only true because we lost more jobs than any Western country. I mean, other countries did not have entire states that were requiring businesses to close. I mean, we had 5.5 million people lose jobs in just California and New York. I mean, just those two liberal strongholds. So, I mean, look at the numbers. In April 2020, U.S. unemployment was almost 15%. That same month, the UK was 4%. That same month, Germany was 3.5%. Japan was 2.5%. And guys, even France was only 7%. So to claim that we have some sort of like world-leading jobs recovery is just the same old liberal nonsense. It's same old liberal doublespeak. They took away the jobs through bad liberal policy in bad liberal states. They gave the jobs back once people started asking too many questions. And now, years later, they're claiming victory. And worse yet, worse than claiming victory, mushy-brained people believe that these people are heroes. And I'll keep going with this. You guys got to see more, but if you haven't already, guys, be a part of this channel's growth. Help us to get this conservative message out. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. Let's keep going.
Secretary, because I've only got 5 minutes. Good try. These high prices are here to stay, aren't they? Let me amend that, Madam Secretary. These high prices caused by Bidenomics are here to stay, aren't they?
Well, the high prices were not caused by Bidenomics. We suffered a pandemic that resulted in severe dislocations.
Yes, ma'am, but if I could ask you, they're here to stay, aren't they?
I don't expect the level of prices to go down, but the rate of inflation.
So they're here to stay.
Well, some prices will be higher than they were before the pandemic and will stay higher, but wages have risen considerably, and the pace of price increases has now receded. Over the last 6 months, the measure of inflation the Fed focuses on has been running exactly at
But if your
2%,
wages... if
and
you don't-
wages are going up.
If you don't get a pay raise, you're screwed. I mean, there's a difference between disinflation and deflation.
So these are good questions, man. She says, yes, prices are high, and no, they're not going down. But don't you worry at all. Your wages, they're higher now too. But it's just simple math. I mean, almost any liberal philosophy or liberal plan can be debunked by simple math. I mean, just look at where people live, because we all have to live somewhere, right? The average mortgage payment across the United States in 2020 was $1,621. Now it's $2,883. That's an increase of 77%. And I promise you, no matter what business you're in, no matter what you do, unless you're the very, very lucky and select few, your wages have not gone up 77%. I mean, and I can already hear the leftist believers in the chat, not everyone buys. No, not everyone buys. But you know what? Your landlord does. And this really, truly does affect everyone.
Y'all talk about disinflation, which I'm happy to have. Disinflation means inflation is going down. It means prices are rising less rapidly than they were. But that's a far cry from deflation, which means the level of these high prices caused by Bidenomics are here to stay. Here's what Jay Powell just said on February 4th. He said, he was asked the question, inflation is one thing, prices are another, and I wonder if there's any reason to believe that people will see the prices of things decline. And here's what Chairman Powell said. So the prices of some things will decline, others will go up, but we don't expect to see a decline in the overall price level. That doesn't tend to happen in economies, except in very negative circumstances. He's talking about a recession. It'll take a recession to get these prices down.
Well, we don't have to get the prices down because
we don't?
wages are going up, and a metric that is worth knowing is that the median American house worker
But let me stop you
is
because I'm going
able
to get cut
to
off.
buy
You don't
the-
think we need to get these prices down? You think it's okay that bacon's up 20% under President Biden? Chicken's up 23.5%. Coffee's up 30%. Gas is up 44%. New cars and trucks are up 20% because people can't afford that's used cars because people can't afford a new car. They're up 24% under Bidenomics. You don't think we need to get these prices?
Wages are also up, and wages are up
They're
more.
not up 24%. They're not
Well,
up 27%. They're not up 23. They're not up 31.
I'm sorry, but what is...
People are really getting good at barely getting by because of Bidenomics.
I love this guy, man. I wish that more people would be exposed to his very, very simple and really, when you look at it, nonpartisan brand of common sense. That's all this man is talking about, common sense. And you can't say it any better than that. Under Joe Biden, people are really getting good at barely getting by. I mean, that cuts deep, man. I mean, that is right to the point. And he's absolutely right. I mean, if everything is up and nothing is coming down, I mean, just do the math again. Even if wages are going up, they're not going up 30%. In fact, if you've ever asked for a raise or if you've ever received a raise, you know that the average raise is between 3 and 5%, 5% being exceptional. So if that's true, you'll see your 30% in about 6 years. And in that time, prices are not going to remain stagnant. At least we better hope they don't.
Look, American households have many pressures on their budgets, and President Biden is devoted to doing what we can as an administration, whether it's health care costs, insulin copays, energy costs, to getting these prices down and to helping American households afford a decent middle-class life. But what is true is that the median worker in the United States, if you compare today with 2019, can buy the same basket of goods with $1,400 left over to save or spend. So Americans, on average, are better off in spite of the fact that the level of prices is higher.
Thank you, Senator Kennedy.
Good try, man.
Tell me this does not feel like the freaking Hunger Games just listening to this lady talk. Because if we're to believe Forbes, right, she has a net worth of $58 million. She works for a guy with a net worth of $10 million that he very, very impressively built up about $175,000 a year, which when you hear it like that, it's amazing that with that sort of financial acumen, he wasn't able to build a better economy. I mean, you think of all people, he could do it, but these are the people talking about doing everything they can to make sure that you can afford a decent middle-class life. Like, how tone-deaf and terrible does that really sound? What does that even mean? I wish someone would ask her to describe a decent middle-class life, because it sounds to me like she's describing peasants, and I'm sure that that's how she feels. And the scary thing, you know, the whole eat the rich, pay their fair share, class warfare liberals, they are also getting pretty good at barely getting by, but they watch this and they don't put any of it together. They won't show any emotion at all. They will not judge this woman by her words and by her production. I mean, except for their unwavering belief that Bidenomics is working. I mean, it is freaking amazing stuff. And like Kennedy said, man, good try, madam. Good try. But that's just my take, guys. Let me know yours in the comments. If you haven't already, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. I'll see you in the next one.